thought she had just forgotten to show me. She showed me many of her essay drafts. But as I was reading it, I was completely taken aback. The essay was one of my college essay drafts, which I'd shown to Tia for reference on writing techniques only. I made this clear. I was livid. The essay was really personal, and she barely even tweaked it up. It was almost entirely copied and pasted. I trusted her with it, and this is what she did. In a fit of rage, I gathered all the evidence of me helping her with the college process, including is 16, so old enough to know right from wrong. She also knew the cost of the coat, so was 100% in the wrong. However, taking her to court is going to completely ruin the relationship between them all. So I guess if she's prepared to do that, then yeah, she should take her to court. Like, I would be pissed if someone did that to something I owned, but I'm not sure I'd expect them to replace a $20,000 coat that was gifted. I don't know, it's easy to judge when we're not in this situation, but that one's tough. and she knew there would be no food for her if she didn't bring it herself and came empty-handed anyway to deliberately cause a scene. Like, if you've already been told that there's not going to be anything there that you can eat, and that if you want to, you can bring your own. If you don't, that's your own fault. Am I the asshole for getting my fiancé's family gifts that were too personal for Christmas when I'm new to them? I'm engaged to Noah, and this was the first Christmas I spent with his family. I met them in the summer after we moved to be near his family now that he's finished with college. We're getting married in February and we're expecting our first child together in May. Being someone who has no family and seeing how close his family was, I wanted to make sure I showed my appreciation for them with the gifts I gave, so I tried to get something each person would love. One of his sisters loves to read, and so I made a book sleeve for her with little details from all her favourite books. One of his nieces is on the spectrum and has wanted clothes for her stuffy, so I made some clothes for her to put on the stuffy. I brought his mum a jewellery box that she had admired a couple of times after she mentioned never having a real one. For his dad, I bought him a frame for his office big enough to hold photos of his whole family on, since he always complained he couldn't find one big enough or nice enough and had no more room for individual frames. I included photos Noah had provided me in it. I got his other sister her favourite makeup, which she mentioned she couldn't afford to buy lately. Then I got his brother a signed piece of memorabilia from his favourite sports team. For the rest of the nieces and nephews, I brought wishlist items the parents weren't getting. Noah thought they would love everything. He told me I didn't need to go to the effort I did. I spent weeks tracking everything down and searching for certain items, but he really thought they'd like them. But when Christmas Day happened, I could tell something was off. I spent the whole time worrying that I had brought them stuff they didn't like anymore or something. They said nothing, but then the next day they asked Noah what the hell I was thinking, and I was like some kind of stalker buying them such personal stuff when I'm almost a stranger to them. The next day we saw them again, and I apologised for the gifts I gave them and told them I would be a lot more mindful in the future. I offered to make it up to them. One of his sisters called me a stalker to my face and told me it was no wonder my family didn't want me if I was so creepy to do stuff like that. Noah yelled at her. I apologised again and told them I didn't want to hurt anyone and I would learn from this. They told me I had overstepped. Noah said we were leaving and they owed me an apology. I feel so bad. Noah is supporting me and told me I did nothing wrong, but surely there wouldn't be so much offence if that were true. I need to ask, am I the arsehole? Also, not sure if this is relevant or not, but I grew up in an unhappy home. My parents were unkind to me and my sister. She was much older and also hated me. I think maybe because of how her parents treated her. But I ended up with nobody who wanted me by the time I was 16, and I was homeless for a good period after that. That's what Noah's sister meant. I told them honestly when they asked. I wanted to clarify something that might sound strange. I had spoken to them on the phone before, but we had not met in person until this year. With COVID and us living in a different city at the time, I had not gotten the chance, but they were genuinely all close before this. I just wanted to clarify that we had met in person before Christmas, and more than once too, but I feel like I messed up expressing that here. I met them for the first time in the summer. Also, since people have been asking, they got me gift cards and they did not return the gifts. She's definitely not the arsehole. I don't think any of those gifts were too personal. They probably liked the gifts if they kept them, but just wanted to cause a scene because they clearly just don't like her. It's good that her fiancé's sticking up for her though. were a